Yep.
And then we can open
All right. Well, welcome, folks, to Tuesday at 7. It is, what is it? It's May 2024.
Correct.
And we're back here at Creative Space Avon with Judy.
Welcome back.
Yeah, and tonight is going to be an exciting interview, and we engage and hope that you guys will be with us to share. We've got a lot of fun things to show, but before we do that, we're in Avon. Tell us where we're at on kind of a map so people can kind of pin that in their brain.
Okay, geographically, we are one exit west of Crocker Road and 90 exit. You get off at Lear Road exit. A lot of times people acquaint it to the new Cleveland Clinic in Avon and also Petiti's Greenhouse. It's the same exit.
And if you're in downtown Cleveland, you are 25 minutes.
We're 20 minutes. And when you get off at the exit, you just go 2 lights north and turn left, and I'm the second building.
And you're here.
So it's really close off the highway.
I know a lot of folks, they think Avon, and sometimes I do. I'm like, that's way far out there. Like, no, we're 20 minutes from downtown Cleveland, and we appreciate you having us here. Yeah. If you guys joined us last week, we had the great privilege of visiting with Louis Grasso. He is a phenomenal artist. He's got decades of experience, and I think he said that he's in a new beginning after, I think it's like 60 years of artwork.
And you may not have known this, but I was a model, and Lou has painted me.
Lou!
So I have one of his paintings.
Oh my goodness, it's a small world.
So he did a portrait of mine as well.
Small world for, you know, for creatives here in Northeast Ohio and Ohio itself. If you shared that interview last week, your name is in this hat. I'm just going to step out of frame here. If you shared that interview last week, your name is in this hat, and we're going to draw a winner of an original piece of artwork of Lou. Just make sure you just grab one. And that's perfect. And the winner of the original piece of artwork,
Jack Kinkelar.
Yeah, that's it.
Did I pronounce it right?
I think so. Jack, thank you so much for sharing this video.
Congratulations, Jack.
We'll be in touch with you so we can find out where to get that original piece of artwork so we can either drop it off or drop it in the mail. Thank you, Lou, for a great interview. Thank you, Jack, for sharing. We appreciate everybody's share. But if you share this interview in the very bottom left-hand side of your screen, I think it's left-hand for most watchers, when you hit that share button, Facebook is going to prompt you to what to do next. It'll allow you to share to your friends list, which we encourage. Share it to a group, which we also encourage, like maybe the Artists of 216, or maybe, you know,
the Watercolor Club.
The Watercolor Club, or maybe the Cleveland Portrait Artist. You can share it to any, and every single time that you share, your name will be put in the drawing. But when you share it, we know it, and we'll put your name in the hat for next week's drawing.
For an award that I'm giving you.
And you got to stick with us to find out. But today, you're going to give us a tour of Creative Space Avon. We're going to have the opportunity to meet 4 of the award-winning artists, see their work, and then we're going to kind of wrap it up with a sort of sound bath.
Yeah, we're going to have some entertainment at the end
as well.
Meditative-like. And this is Creative Women 7. And last year, Roger was here for Creative Women 6. So we're really happy that you came back to see this new gallery show.
Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you, Judy, for inviting us in. This is the last of this interview that you're probably going to see my face, but you're going to hear my voice because I'm going to come around the camera and I'm going to just kind of be the cameraman. I'm going to be a first person, ask some questions, and we encourage you folks to ask questions as well. And thank you, Judy. I'm going to come around. I'm going to put this hat down until next week, until we choose the next winner, and then we're going to go around. So how does that sound? But before we start, Judy, it's my understanding that you've been at this location for just a bit of time, right?
Yes, it'll be going on 10 years in June, on the 5th.
It's not only a gallery, it's an opportunity to take classes, right? And
correct, and my glass studio, on the door it says Home of the Glass Studio. So I'm a professional stained glass artist, and I teach and offer classes and do restoration and repair. And then I showcase other people's art in the gallery. And we also have the space as an event place for other people to come in and teach watercolor classes, have yoga classes, have birthday parties. We've had a lot of different events here for fundraisers and everything. So I'm going to introduce you to
quick introduction to our award-winning artist, right?
Yeah. So, come on in. We've got three ladies here.
Give us a quick introduction. Who is our first artist?
We have Nada up here in the front. And then we have Deborah. And we have Leslie.
Well, we are so excited to get an opportunity to see your work, award-winning work, and to talk a little bit about your journey. So, and then at the very end,
we've got somebody way in the back
that we're going to have an opportunity to hear, you know, playing some sound bowls and the sound bathing.
Okay, so come on in.
Now, there's been quite a bit of events that we've collaborated with Tuesday at 7 in the group and some of the artists in our community, and we recognize walking through this front door. But from the time you walk in, there's artwork. You want to show us a little bit?
And also, I've lost track, but I think this is my 42nd gallery show since I opened. So there's been shows for men, for women, for younger people combined together. This is the Creative Women VII show. There's 32 women in the show, and there were 9 awards that were given out. So we'll point out some award winners tonight too. Okay.
This is not the Creative Gents, which usually happens in the fall. This is Creative Women, which happens in the spring.
Correct. Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
We have different art mediums in here. So we have paintings that are acrylic. We have liquid pours. We have quilting. We have digital art. There's some quilting pieces here. This is what you call wet felted wool. The person that actually is doing the beach glass jewelry has also done this. We've got different mediums, and when somebody puts their art here, I don't put all 3 of their pieces together. They're spread up on different walls. So Deborah Sue has a piece here, but then she's got 2 other pieces elsewhere in the show. This is a really unusual piece because it showcases Cleveland and different cities, and I'm sure she'll talk to us about that in a little bit.
Well, why do you split them up? Just curiosity, right?
Because when someone comes in to look at the art, I don't want them to be comparing one piece to another piece of the same artist. I want them to look at that individual piece for what it is. Because very seldom does somebody buy 2 different distinct styles from one person. So I don't want to have comparison going on. It just helps for them to really tune into what the show's about.
And in addition to the opportunity, right, to show, it's the opportunity for the artists to sell their work as well.
Yeah, by having me represent you, you have the opportunity to network with the other artists. You get the opportunity to sell your art, and you also get the opportunity to have awards. And this year, the award, the judge was Sarah Schuster, who is in charge of the fine art department at Oberlin College. She came and she judged, and she was here opening night. She presented all the awards, and she also gave a statement to each artist about why they selected that specific piece of theirs for the award. And that's probably the most important thing for the artist, to get the feedback from the judge. A lot of times you're in an event, but you always say, oh, why did that one get it? Or why didn't I? And what was the judge thinking? And this way they were able to find out what the judge was thinking.
Yeah, well,
it makes a difference.
Yeah, it makes a big difference, right?
Yeah, it's a big learning curve for the artists as well.
Yeah, so not only do you have a chance to show, not only do you have a chance to sell, but you also have the opportunity for some professional feedback to help you on your journey.
Correct.
Well, there's a lot of folks that are jumping on here. Karen,
hi everybody.
Chris, Heather, I know there's other folks here. Thank you so much for joining us. We encourage you to share because there's going to be some artwork given away. But we're here at Creative Space Avon, and we're going to walk on in and meet some of these artists. But is there any work that we should point out on the way? Well,
this is just a fun exhibit here in the front that I want to show you. We have a ceramic artist in the show, and she does little itty-bitty things. And I said, well, it was near Mother's Day. Bring in your itty-bitty things. And these little mice people collect. And a specific thing that was very interesting was she makes these little flowers, and if someone has African violets, they can put them in their African violet pot when their flowers are dead, and then it looks like there's a flower in their pot.
So if you don't have a green thumb, this is the place for you to come in. And this work is affordable too, right? So if you
Oh,
come
yeah.
in, you can walk out with artwork for.
Oh yeah, these are very minimal. And then the windows that are on the wall are what I call garden art windows. Those are all mine. They're stained glass windows that people want to use them for their half bathrooms. They want to use them on their patios. Of course, they're not going to show well here because they're against a wall and you're not seeing the light coming through the stained glass. So over here, let's walk through. We've got garments that are in the show, as well as flat art. So now you're seeing we've got some 2-dimensional and some 3-dimensional pieces coming on as well. This piece here is, has some wood sculpture to it as an abstract. One of the people that we're talking to tonight is Leslie, and this is her piece. So she'll be coming back and talking to you about her lovely denim jacket. All right, we don't get too much of it away
because we're going to come back to it.
Yes.
Great work. And I would imagine that the interest, certainly for folks to join, is that their work is aside other artists of many different mediums.
Correct. We have this lovely mosaic. It's the only mosaic piece in the show. It's a woman that's been coming here for a long time, and she also comes and buys my scrap stained glass to use in her art.
Well, I'll tell you what, I mean, you really should check out the show because not only is it great artwork, but there are folks that are just going to say, I need to pick up some of that work. It is really affordable, and it's a great show.
So before we step in and look at the rest, what I want you to do is stand here and scan around the room so we can get a view of what it looks like when you walk in. You look up and you see the quilts.
Yeah.
And we have an exhibit here in the center that we're going to be talking about with these. That's a traveling exhibit. That's for the ovarian cancer. But it allowed people to come in and look in the show and then look up and then look all the way around the room 360 degrees and see all the color that was in the space.
There's work. How many pieces of work, Judy?
There's over 100 pieces
Over 100 pieces in the show.
Yes.
The Creative Women VII. Is it 7 years of?
This is the seventh one.
The 7th year. The pieces on the backside and a lot of work.
So we'll come back through here and look at the pieces again. Why don't we start back here in this corner?
Yeah, let's do it.
So we've got some portrait artists that are in the show. And this is a pastel. We've also got an oil painting here that is done by the oil artist Jean Ferment that taught an oil painting class while this gallery show was up. She's a certified Bob Ross painter. So she taught a class here a couple weeks ago. We've got some quilt images in the show because part of the theme of the show was to think about how quilts were storytelling items for women in the past. So some of the artists did some quilts. This is a guide that tells you all the different symbols that were in this quilt for represented. And this is for the Underground Railroad, and it tells you all the symbolism for it. One of the things
in our medium that that some people have lost track of, right? But
Correct.
You're bringing it back.
Yeah. So what this allowed was we had quilts hanging on the ceiling, but then we also allowed the artist to do a painting or something to showcase a quilt theme within their art form. One of the things that we do is we have all the artists as a requirement do an artist bio page. And this is a sales tool for us to use. And it shows you a description of what the artist's medium is, why they do what they do, and what inspires them. So when someone comes in, if they want to talk about the artist, I can come over here and I can look at the bio. And like, this is the one about this pastel portrait. It says, my favorite medium is soft pastels. They are very soft in texture and can create smooth or smudgy lines and intense color and strokes, appearing buttery and solid like oil paints. And then she goes on with more detail. But this way, if someone's considering purchasing art, they can actually find the story about the artist with these. Yeah. So it's an added tool. We've got some oil paintings here. This is a watercolor. And this shows you how by having a unique watercolor, putting that specific frame on there really makes you feel like you're going into nature by having that wood grain frame around it. So to me, art isn't just about the art, it's also the presentation on how somebody presents their work and follow through. This is a unique piece, and some of these I put on turntables so people can see them all the way around. This is a fused glass lantern. These have been popular the last few years, and they're always one of a kind. Kelly does a great job with these.
Well, before we move over, we want to encourage people, again, to share in case you didn't join us at the very beginning. Mm-hmm. When you share, you hit the share button, and Facebook will prompt you to share it to a friend or to your friends list or to a group. But if you share, we know it. Mm-hmm. And when you share, your name will be put in a drawing next week for, I see that, is that the piece here?
So do we want to show them?
Yeah, let's show it.
Okay, this is the piece that's going to be donated by me, which is a lighthouse with a seascape, for a fused glass hanging for the person that wins the raffle next week. So good luck, folks. Yeah. Share.
Share. And your opportunity, we'll make sure that if you win, we get this to you safely.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Where are we going now?
So we're going to come over this way, and we've got pieces up above. We have pieces down below. You know the little mice I was showing you before? Yeah. This is the big pieces that go with the gal that does the mice. So she can work large, and she can work small. This one here is very delicate with all the flowers in it. It's very unique.
And I'm already getting to recognize the style. So this is the same artist Deborah, that we're going to talk to, right?
This one,
and this is another piece. Oh my goodness. It's fun to start recognizing the artist not by their face, but by their work.
Yes. So over here on this wall, mm-hmm. we have 3 different very colorful pieces, and we also have this quilted jacket. This was a piece that we brought in just to show the highlighting of quilting of the past and how delicate people are doing quilting with new modern embroidery machines.
And Shirley.
The Shirley Purcells.
Is the artist.
Mm-hmm. So over here we've got 2 large pieces that we've got kind of purple and blue and yellow. If you notice when I hang the show, I kind of do it by color. So this wall kind of coordinates the colors of the purple and the blue and the red. And we have my Director's Choice Award over here. Mm. And I want to introduce you to Leslie because she's here tonight. Come on in. And she's going to talk to us about her piece, and then I'm going to tell you why I gave her the award, okay?
Yeah, so tell us
why.
Not why yet, we'll come back.
Okay.
But Director's Choice.
Okay.
What does that mean?
So Director's Choice to me means that I'm looking at the overall show, and it's after the judge has already judged all the pieces. That means that I could have given a Director's Choice to a piece that a judge had given an award to, but it was my decision on what piece I felt the artist was being creative, doing something out of the box, was doing something that may have been towards the theme of the show, which we were kind of looking at quilting as part of the theme, and felt that they were really pushing their buttons on what they were doing with their design. And I certainly thought that Leslie's piece received all those merits with her piece. So she's going to talk to you about this.
Let's see, we're going to come in here. Tell us a little bit about this piece. You can take a look at kind of where we're at in frame.
I can see
tell us about the piece.
I went with the theme of the quilts and storytelling. I really think it's important to keep our traditions of storytelling going. I tried to incorporate multiple forms of storytelling with this. So I have the book in the background, which represents the written telling of stories. The quilt that she's wearing, I envision that being part of a family heirloom and passed down and tells its own story for what it is, as well as if the pattern is telling a story of its own. And she's just sharing a story with the universe. And so then we're getting into the oral storytelling. I think it just kind of pulls it all together and represents the importance of telling our stories.
Mixed medium.
Mixed mediums. I use, which is a little bit different for me. I have started really entering the art world doing oil painting. So I ventured a little bit.
So I'm going to come in here close.
Okay.
Right, so folks can see that started off with pages of a book.
Right.
Is there, or maybe I should say, what is the relevance of these pages?
Just the oral telling of stories representing that.
And the quilting
Is paper.
Yeah.
Into different papers.
And it looks like is there some paints here as well?
There's a little bit of paint added to some of them. The background is painted. Got the gold leaf sun on the top.
Yeah. So some artists will say, I want my work to speak for itself. And some artists like to give us kind of some background on it to say, this is what it means to me. Are you an artist to say, we're just gonna let the audience move, or are you going to give us a story behind?
Well, I
the
often
piece?
have a story,
Yeah.
but the story isn't necessarily right or wrong. So I'd like to touch the viewers of the art to help hopefully create a story that they can relate to.
How long have you been an artist?
I've been creating my whole life, and I know that it's me being me, but it's been about 6 years that I've really been dedicating more time to
And
it and entering shows.
And I would imagine that whenever we put our work up there, right, there's something revealing about that, right? Because there's some of us that we hang on the wall for others to look at.
Right.
Is this the first time you've been in a gallery? The first time that you've had Director's Choice or an award?
It's my first time for Director's Choice. Last year, this show I had Best of Show.
Oh.
That, and this is in Barberton at the White Rabbit Gallery. I won first place, and I'm there this spring.
West Side, East Side. Your work moves
from
around,
Medina,
right?
So
Okay.
it's a little bit more.
Is there other work that you have here that's exhibited?
Yeah, over here. I
Yeah,
have
let's take us there.
photograph. Printed on metal.
And so printed on metal. What's that process?
Ordering it online.
Or
And
so
it's-
you're sitting your photograph in, right? And
into
there.
a photo lab, and that's one of the
Oh.
options. It just kind of creates soft to it.
Yeah.
And you shared with me this was looking down your driveway.
This was one morning walking out my driveway, and
I wouldn't imagine this is the out of somebody's driveway. But you said you live in Medina, and Medina's a
Right.
beautiful place, and so I can see some inspiration behind it. Now, are you a photographer? Is that another one of your mediums, or are you just like
I'd like to take photos. Yeah, I usually don't exhibit photographs. This one.
someone's one that kind of whispers to me too? Are there any other pieces here that they have?
The jean jacket.
Oh yeah, let's go back there, because you're bringing photography, you're bringing multimedia, and then you're bringing acrylic on a jacket.
Yes. So I have, as I said, I was kind of venturing out in some different directions, and one of the areas that I've been experimenting is painting on jean jackets and some purses.
Judy, this is one that you said you put on
Yeah, we put them on turntables.
put on the turntable so you can see it. For those who may have painted their leather jackets back in the 70s, the 80s, the
And
90s.
she has a nice zipper entry on the front. Isn't that fun? It's a little bit tattered. So I think it's youthful looking as well.
Yeah, it's a tailored,
Mm-hmm.
nice piece.
Tell us how does one paint on a jacket? Do you have to? Do you have to put a layer? Is it a gesso? Like
They're fabric paint.
fabric paint?
So they do.
Well, thank you for sharing your work. Give us a word or a few words of wisdom, right? Because you've been entering some shows. What would you say are a few things that you would give to fellow artists or maybe some newer artists to remember?
Just to share it with others, whether it's doing it at a show such as this or in giving something to a charity for an auction.
Share it.
Share it.
Share it. Thank you for
And
that.
don't be afraid to do it.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
I guess I'm gonna turn back around. We're gonna come back
So
to.
we'll continue where we left off here and
Yeah.
just keep going this way.
All right, show me where.
So
where
we've got some pieces here. The one thing that I want to point out is probably 3/4 of the artists in this show have been in shows here before. So they're repeat artists that come back. They like how I present their work. They like the experience. And I think that they're grateful for the opportunity to be able to show their creativity. So we have some oil paintings, some acrylic paintings. You can tell this piece specifically, the artist worked probably from the frame before she designed the piece. So you can see how the framing and the coloring of the frame helped interpret what she did internally on it.
Give us some sage wisdom, Judy, on framing and presentation. Tell us a little bit about that and the importance of it.
Well, for example, on this top piece up here, this is a good explanation of that. This specific artist brought in this piece, and she had talked to me beforehand, and I said, you know, it needs a little bit of something to punch it. I said, so why don't you consider putting some type of white lace or something on the piece, because that is imitation paper that looks like a quilt where she's actually put the stitches in, but now she's put a fabric piece in to make it a true mixed media of paper with the quilt, and she's framed it with a mat and framed it well. So someone that purchases that can take it home and put it right on the wall. And that's what the biggest thing is. It's like, for example, if an artist does a painting, and this one over here, you can kind of see they painted around the sides of the canvas. So the art continues around the sides. Some people, this one's got a zigzag around the side. Sometimes they'll paint them all black. That to me is finishing off a piece when you're paying attention to your side view of the art as well as the front view.
Well, John, Michael, Mario, Paul, we see you out there. Thank you for joining us today.
Hi.
I think there's something really important to learn about that, right? Because as a gallerist, right, somebody who owns a gallery, you've exhibited a few pieces, right? And
it also puts you, when a judge is judging the art, those are the things that they look at, is the presentation of the art and then the quality of how they're finishing the piece. And then also the judge will also look at the art bios, and that helps determine who gets the awards as well sometimes. Yeah. So we're going to go back here to our main feature of the show is our best of show. And I'm going to introduce Deborah, and she's going to come in and talk to you about her lovely piece.
All right, Deborah.
This is Deborah Selecki.
What a beautiful piece. I'm going to turn and we're going to take a quick look at your face. We're going to come back to your piece here. Tell us a little bit about this work.
Well, I love dragonflies, and dragonflies have been in my work for a long, long time. They're usually flying around some lotus or something else, and I just wanted to spotlight the beauty of just the insect and keep it more simple. And it's kind of got this like Art Nouveau border around here with the moons, and this particular piece has a sunset, and I have a companion piece to it that is like a just a blue sky kind of day. So,
what medium are you using here?
This is just acrylic.
Just acrylic?
Mm-hmm.
Why acrylic?
I started out painting as a watercolor artist, and acrylic is a water-based medium, so it was a natural transition. I think it to me, I use my acrylics a little like watercolors. So they're a little bit thinned down and there's layers, and it dries quickly.
Just quickly, yeah. I mean, that's always a positive, and I find myself working acrylics more than anything else for just that reason.
Yeah, because you can get a layer down, and then you can put these details on top right away, right? So you imagine that this was like all these colors are all painted in there first, and then it has to dry before you can put the little tiny paintings on top of it. So it is also kind of framed out with a different, like a glossy white, which I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but in person you see like a white on white pattern in the background. It's not just plain white.
And there's certainly, you've got the shadows of the wings, right? You've got, I mean, so it looks like this is floating off of the canvas.
Yeah, I do a lot of like kind of 3D illusion work. I do those chalk drawings on sidewalks that look 3D and mural work that looks 3D. So it's kind of like a version of that on canvas.
Well, congratulations on Best of Show. Judy, Judge's Choice. That means what?
This one, I'm right here. The judge, Sarah Schuster, drew to this piece right away from the very beginning when she saw this. And I'll put in the comment field later what the judge's statements were on these pieces. So then the artists and our viewers can read what the judge's thoughts were about the piece, okay?
Which was interesting because you don't usually get that.
Yeah, so we'll add that little tip. If they go in and look at it on the share, they'll be able to see all the judges' comments. Yeah. Okay?
Deborah,
you've got some other pieces here. You want to tell Roger what else we've got? Yeah, you want to take us to the
before we do that, I noticed a dragonfly necklace as well. And so, like, dragonflies, it is...
This is an antique my mom gave me. But, yeah, I have dragonfly kind of everything. There's a dragonfly in, like, every room of my house.
It speaks to you, huh?
Yeah. It does. The symbolic meaning to me of the dragonfly in its metamorphosis from being a water bug and flying up into the sky. There's also a children's story about death that's called Water Bugs and Dragonflies. And it's, so when I see one, I also think of like life and the cycle of life.
The other two things that this piece, and you didn't even catch it, is we just had the eclipse a week before this show, before this piece was shown.
How did I miss?
And a lot of people were drawn to this painting because of just having our natural experience with the eclipse. And the one thing that I thought, Deborah, was the thing that drew me at the very beginning was the totem pole effect that you did in the body. I thought that was very unusual, and that you did the shadowing of the wings and the body. And then it took me to another space when I stepped back and looked, that drew me into all your white circles in the background. And I thought, boy, if those white circles weren't there, this piece would have looked completely different.
Mm-hmm. There's all my work has layers, and so I think you're kind of referring to those. It's like layers of images and also layers of reality. Sometimes in more of my collage pieces.
Yeah.
You want to go look
at take us there. And then I saw the repeated shapes, certainly, right? The circles, right, which are repeated there. And
this piece in particular.
This is going to be interesting if he can pick out a couple things in here when he looks at them.
If you're right?
I absolutely love,
look at
the Browns. Yeah, I love Beachland Ballroom, Euclid Beach Park. Like, if you're from Northeast Ohio, you could probably just look at this piece for an extended period of time. And the repeating circles.
And this was also her quilt image. With the circles.
Oh, nice.
And it's layers and layers of different things you can look at. And so it kind of entertains your eye. So my goal is that when you first look at it as an overall composition, you might be drawn to it like, hey, that looks cool. But when you walk up close, you still see something interesting that keeps you involved in the piece.
And I can't, as living just a few minutes from Parma.
Yeah.
I also see
It's about all these particular suburbs around downtown. And
I liked all the black and white images you had in it, for the vintage shots.
And I see signed Deborah Sue.
Yep, my friends call me Deborah Sue.
So you signed
I've always signed my work Deborah Sue since before I got married, and then it just stayed that way. So
Thank you for sharing this piece with
And
us.
the other thing that you were talking about was showcasing how people frame their pieces. Look how she does her own framing of putting side pieces. She's got her canvas mounted in. So she does her own framing that's different. It's kind of her signature.
Yeah. Great work. I think that I saw one other piece. Is that
Mhm.
am I right? You saw that on the way in. I'm going to step behind. We'll look over your shoulder as we're walking.
Okay.
Want some water? You want some water, ladies?
This piece is
Thanks.
actually like that Cleveland piece we were just looking at. Started with a map of the Cleveland area. This one is a map of the city of Paris. And then within it has all these images that show parts of the history and the art and the culture of the city, and kind of that same concept of these layers. It creates like not a map version, but more like a dream like memory of the city.
See some lace and some repeated circles.
Circles are always in my life.
Are you going?
I love
Yeah.
circles. And certainly some black and white and some let's see, fashion, right? Because
Right.
I mean, it's certainly when I think of
There's
Paris,
a
I
lot
think
of-
of fashion, right?
Right, some old
You did a
vintage
nice job.
fashions. And
You look nice
modern
in green outfit,
fashion
too.
with the history.
How many years have you been doing work?
My mom got me crayons when I was 2, right? And it builds. It builds. But professionally, I've been working for 30, maybe, selling work. And I'm an art teacher in Strongsville. And I've been an elementary art teacher for the last 35 years. And school year's almost done, so I'll be moving myself up to Marblehead for the summer, and I'm opening a new studio space in Port Clinton at a place called the Art Garage. So if anybody's in Port Clinton, come visit us over at the garage.
Stop in. We see folks are joining here. Thank you, Kirk, for your comments. As a art teacher of youngsters, there's some things that you probably teach them that's probably really relevant to we adults. What might that be? You know, a couple points where you'd say, you know, is it keep it simple, stupid? I know that is. So what are a couple things that we should know as adults that you're teaching your kids that are important lessons?
Well, I'm thinking about times when kids get frustrated with their art, and art is supposed to be fun. And sometimes as an artist, the part where it becomes a chore or you get frustrated is when you have to step back, step away from it. And as a kid, if you're having fun with it, it usually turns out like you're happier with the product. And as an adult, it's the same. If you just have fun with your work, usually you turn out a better product.
Great advice.
Yeah.
Thank you, Deborah, Sue. Judy, I'm coming right back to you, right? Because we have...
So I'm going to show you a piece that is starting to be a kind of a tradition. This is called Creative Women 7, and what you will see in this is these are all snippets of one piece of the art that the artist provided, and it's kind of like a Where's Waldo, where they can walk around and they can look at this and say, okay, where is this image at? So if you look at this little spot here, it's in that stained glass window way over there. Or if you see this eye, it's up there in the painting in that top corner there. So this was a poster that Terry Harris helped me put together, and we've done these for a few years now. And the artist can contact me and buy the art. And sometimes the public wants to buy these because they're fun. And you can come in and take a picture of this and then walk around and try to find the spots in the art that's represented in the poster. So that's something that we did. As we go further into the show, you're going to see there's some other quilt images that are kind of popping off the wall here. This one jumps right out at you. Was our second place winner, was Angela Novak. And it was on the Underground Railroad as well. So she has symbolism in there. It's a 2D mixed media piece. This
Congrats, Angela. She's
Yes.
a really active member here at Tuesday at 7.
And this is a quilt patch that was done by Roberta Meredith that did all of our lovely big quilts that are hanging from the ceilings.
Mm.
So this was like a scratch quilt that she did. And this is called a pineapple quilt, by the way. Look at all the different colors. And when you look at quilting, it's not just about the design and the colors. It's also the quilt person that did the actual stitching of the quilt on the backs of the quilt. So if you look on the backs of the quilts, they have stories. Like on this one, you can see it's got some curlicues. And can you get up close and see the stitching? That's what I'm talking about. That's what they use. I think it's called a long arm machine that does the actual quilting. Years ago, people used to do hand quilting. Now pretty much everybody is doing machine quilting when they do the actual quilting after it's been assembled, the top. And talking about quilting, I started out as a quilter before I did stained glass. So in the 70s and 80s, I did quilting. And a lot of people that did quilting switched to stained glass because it's kind of an engineering type form of art that they coordinate well together. So this piece here, we've got some photography in the show. I asked this artist specifically, I said, you know, give me a quilt on a clothesline. We want to show something that's current today. And this was a piece that was done by Jean, who was the oil painter that taught our oil painting class. This one won Best Quilt. The story behind this was that the artist, this was a self-portrait of herself, and she's wrapped in her mother's quilt. And that was done by Angela Gasser. It says here it's 1991 wedding quilt from her mother. This one is an honorable mention up above. My journey when Mary Kay Thomas went to Africa. So it has a look of the past from 1538, 36 to 2024, and shows you the history that went on with the people when they came over from Africa to the United States. We've got this one is a 3rd place winner. It's a quilt. She's also a portrait artist, so she painted the face. She embroidered the butterflies herself. Those weren't purchased. She did that with her quilting machine.
Place, congratulations.
This goes to Betsy Jackman. And we've got another portrait. We've got a digital art here, oil painting. And now we have Nada Kutner, who is here tonight with her honorable mention. Nada, you want to come over and talk to us about your very unusual mixed media?
Congratulations on your recognition.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about this.
So this is mixed media.
Mm-hmm.
We've got acrylics, we've got colored pencil, regular pencil, but in all of the art that I create, which is how this whole thing started for me, is just flowers. These are real flowers from my garden that I press organically, without chemicals, without dyes, and they end up in art.
It's flowers.
Yeah.
I mean, that's probably something that a lot of artists today are not using, right? To tell us the process.
You'll be surprised that I think over the last decade or so, there's been a resurgence.
Oh, resurgence.
I recently found a book that Princess Grace of Monaco authored. It's an instructional book on how to press flowers and do art.
Well,
so for me, the art started about 4 years ago, and it was born out of the love for my garden. And during the winter season, when I looked out the window, it was bare, and I missed my flowers. So this was really a means to play with flowers all year long.
So your pieces are drawn images, though. So you had to have been an artist to be able to draw figures before you did the flowers.
I was not, actually.
Really?
I could barely draw a stick figure. So this is something new for me over the last 4 years. I was a project manager in banking for 40 years. A lot doesn't lend itself to this type of creativity, but as I've said to others, once you get all that noise out of your head of the corporate stuff, and then new stuff comes in. And I didn't realize that I had creative abilities. I was pretty creative with budgets and timelines as a project manager, but again, this was born out of love for gardening. So I grow the flowers, I pick them, put them into a traditional press, which is just, plywood with bolts, and you layer the flowers and just wait for weeks sometimes. And the drawing was secondary for me. My first pieces that I did were strictly line art, and a few YouTube videos, a couple of tutorials, and a lot of practice.
So now that you've done this for a while, what comes first, the flowers or the face?
It's a little of both. I recently did a piece that I called Liliana because there was a lilac spray. And when I saw the pressed flower, I immediately knew it was going to drape over her eye. And then the rest of the face came later. With this one, the best part is the personality emerges as it gets created. This is sassy. It started with the face. I liked, her puckering up, and then when I started to look for the flowers to include, thought, well, she looks sassy, she's got to be a redhead. So the nasturtium flowers and the leaves were just a natural.
Two pieces in this show.
Well, just one. This is just a separate one that
that
I
you brought in.
in.
Oh, perfect.
We wanted to do a close-up for you.
Yeah.
And I talk about when you let noise out of your head, new stuff comes in. I think the most intriguing or interesting part for me has been, as long as I've gardened and grown flowers, since I started doing this, nature has taken a whole new perspective. Now I look at flowers, I look at trees, and I see what can be lips. I use actual plant material for the lips or for the eyes or the eyelashes. So nature looks.
Do you belong to any garden clubs?
I don't, but I've gone and done demonstrations to a few of them in a few art associations. So they're interested in
Well, you need to
dabbling
talk
on
to
the art.
Ann Lyons. She's president of the Avon Lake Garden Club.
Very well.
What's a bit of advice, right? I would imagine hearing a little bit about your story, any time is a good time to start your creative journey. But give us a piece of advice for folks that are just watching.
A lot of people have said, I can't draw. I can't do that. And when I talk to them about what I could and couldn't do, what I couldn't do and what I can do now is just be open-minded. Be open-minded, try it. Do a little practice. Don't give up. It's a labor of love. And once you find that you can slowly emerge into some type of a talent, then you won't want to stop.
Take your interest and cross the starting line, right?
Absolutely.
And then start join the race.
Yeah.
Thank you
So
much
do you
for
have a
sharing your
piece
work.
that you dream about doing?
Piece that I dream about doing.
Like something in the back of your head that's saying,
it would be very large. Whatever it is, it would be a large piece.
Mm-hmm.
But, and I was listening to Deborah Sue talk about the Paris, that would be a fun thing to pluck some flowers from Paris, which I'm actually planning a trip there this fall. And wherever I go vacationing, I always have a book with me, and I take petals where I can. So I'll be bringing back some petals from Paris, and that'll make their way into another piece.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your work, but we're not quite done, right?
We got a couple other things back here we want to show you. We have a past award winner here, Juniper Manilis, has shown she was a Best of Show winner here years ago. This is one of her entries she brought in this time. She usually does a lot of portrait face goddess type images. This is the Blue Goddess. This art here is all done by one woman, Barbara Gorman, that did the beach glass jewelry. She's been doing beach glass jewelry for a long time, and she's also a silversmith, and she does silver clay. So she brought in some very nice pieces here. We've got some abstract acrylic type pieces here in the back. And over here, we've got another award winner. This is honorable mention for a photograph, and it also ties into the eclipse that we were talking about before. So this was by Daphne Ford, and we've got a hula hoop image. There's some woods in the background. You've got some of the universe and the moons.
Oh, great work.
Isn't it fun?
Yeah, yeah.
So we've got, I think we've covered everything except for one thing I want to show you up front, and then we're going to give you the surprise, okay?
Yeah.
So we've got these images. You may have caught them in the background when we were walking around the room. I met a woman that they're representing ovarian cancer. This is a national exhibit that there were 60 torsos that were made over 2 years, and they shipped these into me, and we are showcasing them for women to be aware of ovarian cancer. It's not a fundraiser. Look at this. This is origami birds. See if you look at the close-up of the birds on this.
And then origami, kind of a bodice, right?
Yeah. And then we've got, it's oriental. And this one kind of reminds me of everything in the kitchen sink. You know, and they sent me statements. This one was called Thriver 2 by Rowan Anderson from Rock Island, Illinois. And it shows you all different kinds of mediums that she's put into this. So this was kind of fun to put this in the show as a surprise for our guests, to show them that you can do a cause with art. And we decided we wanted to do a cause this year ourselves. So behind you, we have 32 pieces that each artist in the show did an 8x8 square. And this was assembled by me. It's going to be taken apart now, and we're going to be putting it on another board, and it's going to be going to the Genesis house. And on Friday night, when we have our closing reception from 7 to 9, at 8 o'clock, we're going to announce the award winner for this show piece. Now, Roger, did you vote? Because you need to vote.
I did not vote, but I will vote as soon as we press the finish button. This will take me some time to...
So he has to come over and pick a number and vote on one of these pieces that's going in our bag, so we can help select the winner for Friday night. And these were all different art mediums. Like our jeweler could not put jewelry in this piece, so we put a photograph of her jewelry in. And they had the choice of making whatever they wanted up there. So we had some really unusual things. The other thing that we're doing with the Genesis house, which is in Lorain County, they have children in their facility as well. So I was thrilled when we got some children images, you know, as far as the animals in this piece. We are doing some donations of laundry soap, shampoo, conditioner, and stuff to go to the battered women's shelter. So the artists are bringing those in Friday night, so that when we go to install this art piece, this is going to be going in their cafeteria. We're going to also be giving their donation pieces as well. So I think we've pretty much covered everything, but I've got a great surprise.
Well, you know, it's kind of interesting because we have Matt Chase, country singer, joined us, and this is the perfect timing to add a sound piece to that. Yeah,
and Matt has been here before and shown and performed for me. So we're going to come over here, and I'm going to introduce you to Carrie Harris. And Carrie is from Avon Lake, and she does professional sound baths and meditation. And she's going to talk about what her discipline is and give us a little demonstration.
Tell us a little bit about what we are about to hear.
Sound meditation. We are going to use crystal quartz bowls and times, and also have a wave drum, and yeah, all of these are meditation.
Sound bath. Is that? Did I hear that correctly?
Yeah.
Sound bath, or you can call it sound meditation. Sound bath, which sometimes people are confused by what that is. Sound bath is really just a way of describing how the vibrations and sounds kind of wash over you.
I would imagine that maybe vibration carries through, but the sound certainly is going to carry through. But in person, I'm anxious to kind of feel the different vibrations that will be coming out of these. They're sound bowls, right?
Yes, these are crystal quartz.
And the other thing that Carrie is deciding is what different avenues she can do with her sound baths. She can do it with yoga. She can go into nursing homes. She can do private event locations. She has her own Zen den in her home that she can tell you about. And she's going to be here this Thursday night from 7 to 9. And she's going to do a sound bath. And she's also bringing a friend that's doing tarot cards, I think. Mm-hmm. So they can reach out to, what's your website?
You can reach out to flowerchild.earth.
Earth.
And
flowerchild.earth.
There it is right there. And we'll put the link in here as well. So when folks get to it, they can just press the button and get right to your...
So let's feel the vibe.
Yeah, let's do it.
Right now we have 4 bowls. Typically I have 7. Each one represents a chakra in the body. Right now I have the throat chakra, solar plexus, which is like the stomach area, our root chakra, which is right here at the bottom of our spine, and then the crown chakra, which is the very top.
So when people come to hear the sound baths, they can be laying down on a yoga mat on the floor, or they can be sitting in a chair. They can bring a blanket and a pillow with them so they can be completely comfortable and try to go into a meditative state with it.
Yeah, we have an event on Thursday. I'll be doing a sound bath from 7 to 8. And then I have a wonderful friend who is a tarot reader. She'll be coming in before and after the event to $10 tarot readings. Yeah. I also have koshi chimes. There's 4 different chimes. Each one represents one of the 4 elements. Right now I have air and earth. I'm a Gemini, so I always have an air sign.
I've noticed that there's many artists, creatives, makers were born in, the month of June.
Yeah.
This takes me often to almost like beach, right? Because I remember hearing chimes, you know, at the beach house or at the
It's
lake
very
house.
light.
Yeah.
It's my favorite way to close out a sound bath. And I typically walk around the room above everybody's body. Very light, happy way. I also have an ocean drum called a wave drum. It's full of little things called BBs, and it's to it's kind of it makes the sound of really just being next to the ocean and hearing waves.
I think that's my favorite too.
So, Carrie, how long have you been doing this, and how did you start?
So I've always been one to meditate, and I come from a long line of women that have a lot of anxiety. So I was taught meditation pretty early on, and then when the pandemic hit, I discovered sound meditation. I went to my first sound bath, and it was almost like an unlocked. So I started doing sound meditation for sound healing in the middle of the May of 2020 during the pandemic. And yeah, I actually moved here from Las Vegas about 3 years ago. So when I moved here, I found this wonderful home that had this beautiful 3 seasons, which we have now created into a 4 seasons room. And we call it the Zen Den. And that's where I host weekly sound baths. I host full moon, Reiki infused sound baths with tarot readers. And we also have a donation-based sound bath that is do whatever you can. And my goal with that is to kind of introduce meditation, general self-care.
I took her to a local senior citizen center, and we had senior citizens come into a room and sit in a chair and experience this. And the next week she came back and did it, and they had twice as many people because everybody told everybody. And then now they have her going into individual rooms where she's pushing a cart in with her bowls, with doing one-on-one with somebody that's in a bed. And so older people that are in hospice and stuff are getting to experience this as well. So she's doing some healing health-wise for people as well with this. So it's been a great experience meeting Carrie, and I've been glad to have her part of Creative Women. So,
Judy, give us a closing sentence or two, and then I'm going to come back and we'll finish out with some sound bowls. How does that sound?
yeah, that sounds great. I want to thank the 32 women that are involved in the show this year. We'll put up a post of their names so you have them on the Facebook page. And know that with the Creative Women, we have a Creative Gents show. And that's what will be coming next in the fall. So it'll be the 4th year that we do a Creative Gents show, and we do an antique car show with that, which is really fun. So any guys out there that want to do art, now you know what the gallery looks like, and kind of heard what I expect for director's choice. So you know what you need to provide for me. But this has been a good experience of having this group of women come together and meet. As you can see, everybody is very eclectic with their work, and it's been a great experience. So and I really want to thank you for sharing your creativity and allowing us to come on Tuesday at 7 and being a part of your family as well. I know you've shown art here as well in the past, and other people have. So I think we all need to help each other at these times. So thank you again.
Yeah, thank you for inviting us in. Thank you for all the artists and your stories. And we're going to close out, and we'll what we'll do is maybe go 30 seconds, maybe 45 seconds, and I'm just going to hit the stop button. How's that sound? Thank you for that.